So I'm going to quickly do this video. Um, Something I wrote today, and I've been thinking about writing it for a while. Um, so here it is. Possible ecological rationales revolving the Antediluvian flood. Due to the ecological changes of whole genuses of both trees and other forms of vegetation and animalia having been extinguished due to the admixture of all the world's pollution and would had engulfed the entire world would probably have killed much of what was in the ocean as well. So regarding both the ecological changes, which if it was raining so extensively, that would mean that there was an atmospheric phenomena occurring, which brings other notation of rationales, being that there might have been atmospheric changes that which explains Noah's acknowledgement of God's declaration of the end of the tribulation, as the re-stabilization of the atmospheric changes must have provided for the view of the first rainbow as we know it today. And God said to Noah, "This is the sign of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth." Genesis 9, Genesis 9:17. Whether there was a possible different spectrum of light in which the world had a different formation of light refraction through what was the pre-diluvian world, I don't know. Lifespan differentials before and after the flood changing over the period of a few generations are likely due to the ecological and atmospheric changes, which no longer allow for such lifespans to occur. Also because there are findings of narration of the same occurrence throughout the world from multiple ecological origins that it is known that there were other refugees and survivors of the flood, which are not attested in the Holy Bible due to Noah's act, was one of preservation and salvation that was apparently centuries in the making, which establishes both that other things do occur in the world and that more than likely the post-flood era was not from a progenitor of a people on the entire earth and preservation of the human race, but in the situation of Noah was really the involvement of God in a particular situation that was an act of God. Besides the genetic entropy of lifespans going from hundreds of years to 120 in a few generations due to genetic degradation by incest is unlikely. The ecological changes that had occurred is more than likely responsible for the changes in the biology of human beings and lifespans. While depending on who you ask and what view of history you accept, there is the question of technology, which is likely to have been since all these megaliths keep showing up with parametric accuracy towards the constellation, so it is undeniable that whatever had occurred to us would be considered to have been technology, which brings us to Noah and the ark. Whether Noah had brought on board the animals to be themselves and was able to accommodate them for 150 days would have required proper dwelling facilities for the animals, or if we want to really take things into an odd context, since while faith is indeed a factor in any situation, Noah preserved pure genetic samples from animals and reestablished their posterity with perfect replication, thus preserving God's original blueprint. And did these faculties in the ark itself become a vestige of the pre-diluvian era that because of the change to the world's physiology, certain facets had degraded or collapsed, had made the pre-diluvian tech no longer applicable. And so Genesis, capitalized Genesis, and so Genesis moves on to the reemergence of human civilization, where the story picks up with a Mesopotamian living amongst the what seems like Sumerian culture, where which God takes him up to a mountain to witness that Abraham should not be like the people who practice such things as they did, and so a goat is provided, alluding to that the guilty be sacrificed in place of the innocent in accordance with Moses' law, and further brought us the truth and power of mercy that is Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ being the exegesis of truth and the spirit of prophecy, I myself consider Jesus Christ to be the 11th commandment, being mercy and forgiveness, as to why Paul said that the law could not save, because after the Old Testament all knowledge was found to be of no redeeming quality to the end. Berean Standard Bible. For what the law was powerless to do, and that it was weakened by the flesh, God did by sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful man as an offering for sin. He thus condemned sin in the flesh, so that the righteous standard of the law might be fulfilled in us. We do not walk according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit. Romans 8, 3 through 14. 3 through 4. Romans 8, 3 to 4. It was found and discovered that mercy and forgiveness would be the New Testament. The unfeigned testimony of the unmastered frontier that is actual love through mercy and forgiveness, acclimating respect. And of course, there's one who had actually lived and proved and paved the way for all acclamation to follow by being the embodiment of respect that is from God, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. New King James Version. For by him all things were created that are in heaven and that are on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created through him and for him. Colossians 1:16.